Welcome to Montclair Dems University. This is great. We're the Montclair Dems, Montclair, New Jersey. We're actually a progressive group sitting in a Democratic club. We have a network of over 9,000 volunteers. I recognize a lot of you. You're on our buses to Pennsylvania, our phone banks, and thanks for coming. This is part of a weekly ongoing education because we want to empower our volunteers to be able to fight what's going on here. And the only way to fight that is to turn out to vote. And so, and we are going to give you the resources and the information on how to be effective to fight the Trump agenda, help elect Democrats, help push back on some of the nonsense that's going on. A couple announcements. We're going to announce in a few weeks, we're going to throw a phone bank for the Wisconsin Supreme Court. We'll put notices out there. We're also going to throw up a phone bank for and Abigail Spanberger in Virginia. So we're really taking action. So look for our notices. I assume you're all on an email. More people are coming in. So John, let's say people I guess having trouble finding parking. Oh, so there's a question. Hey, David, we are, as soon as Anthony gets his act together, we're going to start posting all the videos from the last couple of weeks and this week. And we're going to have a YouTube channel with all the classes, all the presentations. And seriously, we hope to have that up as early as next week. And then every class will always be videotaped. You can share it with your friends. And so we now have, this is great, on a cold Thursday night in February, we have 50, 60 people here waiting to find out how they can engage. So let me introduce John Wolf, who's the founder of our social media team, the Wolf Pack, and Lisa Korn. And they're going to talk about really how you can combat disinformation one click at a time with real do-it-yourself information. So without further ado, John, welcome. Thank you.
Thank you, Kerry. I'm going to share my screen now. Just as a reminder to everyone, we're recording this, so hopefully you give your consent.
And it means you can review it.
Means you can review it.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, can everybody see the opening slide?
Yes.
Great.
In that case, go ahead, Lisa.
Okay, great. Well, I just want to say hi and hi to everybody and welcome. I'm Lisa Korn. I want to thank you all for coming. Harry said on this cold, wet evening. I am a political activist. I've been working with the Montclair Dems for quite some time. I've been a video producer for 35 years, and storytelling and messaging have been integral in my life. And I'm going to just do a quick little intro on John, who I call my smarter half in this endeavor. He started in government and politics, and he worked on many political campaigns. He was a digital media strategist and advised leading global brands on how to achieve business objectives. And because, just a little housekeeping, because we have a lot of ground to cover tonight, just hold your questions until the end of the presentation. You'll be able to write them in the chat, and we will certainly answer all of them for you. What John and I offer you this evening is the first step on a journey. And this is the start of a very important conversation, and one that we hope you will continue with each other after this. So,
thank you.
John, take it over.
Thank you, Lisa, and thank you everybody for joining us this evening. As Lisa said, this is a really important conversation. We're really happy, or maybe unhappy, that we have to have this conversation with each other today. And just as a reminder, this is really a marathon, not a sprint. And today we will be talking about some very concrete actions that you can take right now to help combat disinformation and misinformation. And more importantly, we also want to provide some context as to the media environment that we're living in today and how we got here. And it's also important to remember that everything we talk about today is the start of some trainings that are being organized. So there will be some additional training sessions And we hope you stay tuned for those as well. So today is the first step and the first taste of what's to come.
Okay, so where do we start? When you think about disinformation and misinformation, how many of us feel like this guy in the picture? I bet you all of us, especially after the last month. And we get it, trying to wrap your head around it is really overwhelming. It's just like a tsunami. But let's start by establishing kind of a shared understanding of what we already know about disinformation and misinformation so that we're all on the same page. So for purposes of today's discussion, here is our working definition. Disinformation is the willful expression of falsehood to achieve political outcomes. Misinformation is the inadvertent promotion of falsehood to affirm or express an opinion. Inadvertent, right? Didn't mean it.
But we live in a radically different information environment than the one we thought we were in. And it also has far different rules, and there's no one there to enforce them. So if you want to fight disinformation and misinformation, we kind of have to first start by understanding the world and how we can operate effectively in it. So we want to start by taking a quick look at that. So take a look at this chart. What these numbers are showing us is that they're revealing why disinformation and misinformation have become so pervasive. And that's because the traditional news media no longer exists in the way that we know it or have known it, and the remnants of it are in decline. So traditional news media, it's really lost its audience, and that's in terms of hours spent, ad dollars, viewers, readers, however you want to measure it, it's in decline, and it's lost its reach in terms of there's declining markets, there's the disappearance of local news, there's the disappearance of people who are actually paying attention to news as a content source. And as a result, it's lost its authority and it's lost its credibility. So the press is no longer the arbiter of truth. It's now just another voice in the cacophony of digital culture that's vying for our attention every day. The responsible free press of the 20th century has been replaced by a 21st century ecosystem of anything goes digital media. Today, podcasters and influencers are the most powerful actors in politics. And that's because we live in a digital culture. Digital culture is where politics happens. It has completely subsumed everything else. We no longer have news, entertainment, sports. We now just have digital culture. And it's where our political agenda gets set every day. So online culture is where people get their news and information. It's where issues are framed. It's where identities are forged. This is where political opinions get solidified. And this is where voters make up their minds. And if you think about it, culture and every single one of our lives experiences, entertainment, sex, business, politics, everything. It all happens in the format of digital content. That means everything from posts, images, videos, memes, comments, threads. Every experience that you can possibly imagine now happens online and it gets experienced as content. So falsehoods thrive because everybody is connected by digital media. And when you're connected by digital media moves at the speed of light. So anything that anyone claims can reach everyone and anyone and can shape anyone's worldview, regardless of its accuracy or truth or intent. And they can do that at lightning speed. So that's the environment we're in. But there's two rules that we want to talk about today, because if we can learn those rules and learn how to exploit them, these are the things that are governing the digital realm. It's the tyranny of the algorithm and it's the attention economy. And the better that we understand these rules, then the more effective that we're going to be in how we fight back, even as individuals, even amidst a larger tide. Yes, we can fight back. Let's get into that part of it now.
So the first rule of fighting misinformation and disinformation is understanding the tyranny of the algorithm. Okay. All social media platforms are controlled by mathematical formulas that determine what content you see, what content you don't see, and what content the platform exposes to others. And it's all based on how and if we engage or don't engage with content on any given platform. So in other words, the more you engage with content, the more the algorithm is going to show it to others. It's going to say, oh, look, this got a whole bunch of attention. Let's kick that up. So the algorithms are now the gatekeepers on how content is proliferated and to what additional audiences. And we can use this to our advantage. The key is our online behaviors. What you do or don't do is really, really a powerful weapon that you control. When we engage with content, we can help get it exposed to more people. So you see a post, you like this thing, you think this is an important piece of information, the more you share it, the more the algorithm says, oh, look, it's getting a lot of activity, and it exposes it to more and more people. When we ignore content, it's going to get less attention.
So the lesson we want to draw there is that it's about our behaviors. What we do online matters, and what we don't do also matters. Because at the end of the day, the currency of this digital world we live in is attention. We live in an attention economy, and everybody else also lives in an attention economy. It's all about gaining attention. And that means for us, how we wield our attention is the weapon that we have available to ourselves. And every piece of content posted, whether it's from a president or a Russian troll, it lives under these same rules. They are competing with each other, and they're competing with everything else for attention. And you can now look at how effective people have been by their ability to gain attention. It doesn't even matter if it's controversial or untruthful or hurtful. It's about whether or not you gain attention. And the reason for that is because if you want to succeed in gaining attention, you're the one that's going to end up with money, power, and influence. So we need to embrace the fact that political success is now all about gaining attention specifically within digital culture. Unfortunately, that often goes to the loudest, most outrageous voices because fear and anger are powerful forces to exploit if you want to sustain attention. That's also why disinformation and misinformation thrive. But if we can wield our attention like the precious resource that it is, then we can turn it into a powerful weapon.